Welcome to Spitbucket. I'm here with Nick Bulleid. We're still at the Brokenwood 40th. Nick, you're one of the directors.
Yep.
How did that come about?
Well, I had a phone call from a mate of the original partners saying, "Oh, they need a hand picking grapes." That was back in 1975 vintage, and I thought,
God, I was at school.
Yeah, I thought it sounds like a good idea. So I went up and I helped pick grapes, and I came back a few more times, and because I was a scientist, they asked me to give them a bit of a hand with the technical side of the winemaking, and by 78 I was a partner.
Oh, yeah. Because you're a marine biologist.
Yeah, originally, yes.
Which would explain your interest in fishing, if not your lack of ability.
Yes. But I turned water into wine.
Oh, Jesus. Seriously, you've been waiting all day to say that, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah,
And it's only 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Right, now the wine we're going to talk about, I also should say you were one of Australia's first ever MWs, weren't you?
Yeah.
Which is pretty impressive, really. So it assumes that he knows what he's talking about. The wine we're looking at, now there's two of them here, aren't there? There's effectively the Quail and the HBA.
Well, it's effectively one.
It's the same wine.
Yeah.
They changed bottles, so they were used to be a Bordeaux to Burgundy bottle. Okay. This starts life as a Quail, and if it's really nice, it turns into an HBA. Do you want to explain that?
Well, actually, really everything we regard as destined for HBA, and if we think it doesn't quite make the grade when the wine's coming up for release in 10 years' time, it gets demoted.
We should start with now this is 44 cases only of this wine. It's a barrel of the best that you can get from McLaren Vale and a barrel of the best from here at the graveyard.
Yeah. Just to take a step back a moment, you know, if you go back to the sort of early era of great Australian wine within living memory, the sort of 50s and 60s. There were two companies doing great things blending
within
between
your
districts.
living memory.
Well, hopefully yours, unless yours is fading. One was the Mildara Cabernet Shirazes, which used Coonawarra Cabernet with Hunter Shiraz and McLaren Vale.
The old yellow label things.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
And that was the beginning of the Hunter Coonawarra wines that you'll see over there.
The far side,
And we started doing that in 1978. The other wines were combinations of McLaren Vale Shiraz and Hunter Shiraz, which Hardy's
and Maurice O'Shea and various people.
Yeah, that's right. And it was that one that particularly inspired Iain because of his McLaren Vale background.
Yep.
And so he started playing around with some McLaren Vale Shiraz he got from Bill Hardy, from the family, and he put together a combination of that with our best barrel of graveyard Shiraz, and that was 84 Quail.
Okay.
And then we decided that we'd actually continue to do this on an ongoing basis, and we kept doing it. Best barrel of the McLaren Vale wine, which we now made from the Rainer vineyard, which we had basically sewn up, which is top McLaren Vale Shiraz and graveyard. And then after a while we decided, well, we've got all the stock building up, we better actually start selling it.
So it's been sitting there for 10 years?
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
And the idea is we released it at 10 years of age.
Yep.
And we thought, what are we going to call it? And we thought we'll name it after the original founders. So HBA is Halliday, Beeston and Albert, the original three.
So what happened was, what was the first, 94 was the first HBA from memory, yes? 96 the second?
Yeah, we declassified 95.
So that was a Quail?
96.
Yes.
There was no 99.
97's a Quail, 98's an HBA. No 90, I mean, if it doesn't make either, it's down the drain. Or
well, it's declassified and sold under other label.
Yeah, but it's not a... and I should point out, the HBA is what, $200 a bottle?
Thereabouts.
Yeah. So it's not...
it's a 10-year-old wine. And it's
10-year-old wine.
Small quantity.
There's 44 cases.
It sells up pretty quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. In the old days, they used to send samples to wine writers, but they don't do that anymore now. Now, we're coming up now where you've got to make the decision from the next one, that'll be the 2000, whether it's a Quail or an HBA. From the tasting yesterday, Quail, it didn't strike me as one of your top.
Still up for discussion.
Okay. It struck me sort of, 1, 2, 3, 2 might be either way, but 1 and 3.
Two I've got no problem with at all.
2 at an HBA?
2000, yes, 2 will be fine. 2000, yeah, top hunter Shiraz year. Very difficult year in McLaren Vale with rain and a lot of Shiraz picked early, and that's what you're seeing coming through in the 2000. But you know, it's although it's got that slight leafy overtone, it's still pretty rich.
Okay.
01 we're not sure about. I would have thought on the basis of yesterday that 02.
02 could get there.
Hang on, 02. No, there's no 02 because there's no graveyard Shiraz in 02.
So this would be a...
Yeah, that certainly wouldn't be it.
Right.
That definitely be a quail.
Yeah, definitely quail, okay. But once you hit 04, 04, 05, I mean, I just thought you had a run.
Well, you've got...
They're all going to be HBA.
04 to 07 are fantastic hunter Shiraz years.
Yes.
Before we had none in 08.
Well, 08
because of rain.
I mean, that's, yeah.
And McLaren Vale, yeah, good years as well, particularly 04 and 06.
Yeah. Well, you saw that I did the Rainers this morning, and the two that stood out, well, I only did the screw cap ones. The two that stood out were 04 and 06 by a country mile.
It's the year.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only make top wine when the vintage allows you, and yeah, 04 and 06 were certainly great in McLaren Vale.
Thank you. Cheers.
Okay,
we should mention what we are, and you may be wondering which of these we're drinking. We're actually still drinking the Graveyard, the 86, because it's just fantastic.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Because who knows when you get to see it again? Well, you'll probably see it regularly, but...
not all that often, unfortunately. Anyway, cheers, Ken.
Cheers. Thank you. Welcome to Spitbucket. I'm here with Dan Deneen. Now, Dan, you have worked here at Brokenwood.
Yes, if you call it work, yes.
Well, you were paid for being here.
Not much, but yes.
But you would have had a good time.
Yes, Brokenwood, yes, and lives up to its mission statement of making wine, good wine and having fun, yes. Yeah.
Now, when were you here?
I did 97 vintage, 98, 99.
Okay.
3 vintages. Yeah.
Then you went to Tower?
Then we went off to Len Evans's thing when it started.
Would have been a different experience?
Yeah, it was. It was good. It was good. Well, it's sort of always take a little bit of Brokenwood culture wherever you go. Yeah.
Well, Len was very close to Brokenwood as well.
Very close to Brokenwood. Yeah.
And then you've left us and buggered off to New Zealand.
I misread the fine print of my marriage contract, which said that you have to follow your wife back home. So we've gone back to Central Otago, where Sarah Kate's family vineyard is, and we're growing Pinot and Pinot Gris and all the things, the fine things of Central Otago, Riesling. Yeah.
Now this is Maud.
And that is Maud.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderfully successful over. Well, I seem to see it everywhere I look.
It's doing well around the place. Yeah. It's good. Yeah. Sure, it's a husband and wife winemaking team. It's good fun. Yeah. Just add a bit of complexity to the marriage.
If you get to the stage where one thinks one thing and who rules?
Oh, she rules, of course.
I never doubted, but I just wanted you to actually put it on tape.
Of course she does. And she worked here at Brokenwood too. That's how we met.
Right, of course, yes.
Yeah. In '97. So that's very much the nature of the place too.
Anything particularly exciting?
We're holding the great '86 Graveyard.
Actually, every video I've done this morning, I've been holding the '86 Graveyard.
I noticed that actually.
Yeah.
Thank God we're drinking out of Magnum.
Well, if it wasn't a Magnum, we'd have been long gone.
No,
yeah, this is actually something special, but
very special, yeah. And there's been a few nice surprises through the early Graveyards. That '88 was a cracker too. I thought yesterday. So some lovely wines. And even some of the wet vintages that we struggled in the rain and sorting
you were
tables
here for a bit of wet.
97 was wet. Yeah. 99 was a bit wet. 98 was a great year. At least I got one good one in the 3.
Well, that's a good strike rate for the hunter, isn't it?
That's what Riggsy said to me yesterday. He said, "At least you made 2 good wines out of the 6 that you made." One out of 3.
Because you had yours was the 99 ILR.
Yeah. Which managed to get that in the bottle before I left. Yeah.
That was quite interesting, because when we first looked at that yesterday, I sort of thought, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
And then you come back, and every time you'd come back to it, it was just going.
That's the first time we took the Drayton's fruit off those sandy flats. Yeah, we made it slightly differently when trying to get away from the make an aging style, rather than just picking a bottling batch out of all the bottling ones. That was a designer wine to age.
Okay.
Yeah. So Drayton's fruit, a bit more of the older stuff I was doing at Brokenwood at Mount Pleasant, and we made it slightly differently.
Because you were over at McWilliams before.
Yeah, it was great to see Phil Ryan here last night.
Yeah. So Phil's been at McWilliams
forever. since I shaved.
Seriously, I didn't
I think he
interview
buried
him.
I shaved.
Yeah, Phil has been around for a while.
He has. He's a legend.
And you're enjoying Central?
Loving Central. Central is so exciting. Of course, we're all going through the flux of you know, sort of oversupply and all that sort of stuff. But
Well, it's not quite as bad as Marlborough.
No, it's not quite as bad as Marlborough. But
And at least you make a decent grape.
Pinot.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. It's not a commodity anymore. So. But it's good. Central's lovely, and the clones and the new areas and Central's got a lot of different sort of subclimates and very different. Very different.
be
6 weeks picking difference between our first pick and our last pick.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beginning of April till mid-May.
But I mean, it's an incredibly dry area, which a lot of people don't realise.
Very dry.
The first time I went there, and they started saying, well, it's actually got the same or slightly lower average rainfall than Ayers Rock.
It's got 200 mils at the driest, 200 something mils.
I think Ayers Rock's about 300.
Yeah, it's quite incredible.
Yeah.
And the air is dry, so you know, barrels dry out, and the angel share is enormous. Thirsty, those angels down there.
Is that what you blame it on? Yeah, that'd be right. But I mean, you go what, 3 or 4 hours, and you're in Milford Sound, which is the wettest place on the planet.
I know. It's incredible. Yeah. And we actually see it. We see the rain sort of stop. You know, the clouds stop, and then it's quite incredible. So it's very exciting. New soils, lots of gravel, free draining, but very exciting. And we're making some beautiful Rieslings out of there too.
Well, the difference with your Rieslings, though, there's such high acidity.
Yeah.
You've got to basically balance them with a bit of sweetness,
and it was
which is a fantastic
style. The first time we made that Cabernet sort of Moselle style.
So you're doing one of those as well?
Yeah, 9% alcohol, 65 grams of sugar.
Going to come to Australia?
It will come to Australia. Yeah.
Dan, thanks so much for coming on Spitbucket, and we'll see you again.
We'll do.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you from Spitbucket. Not spitting this. Here on Spitbucket, for the very first time, we have our very own knife throwing act with wine. Dan Deneen from Maud in Central Otago is going to spit from a very great distance towards the bucket. Right. Over to you, Dan. And I'm getting out of the way. Oh.